Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the corner. Welcome to your latest Chelsea transfer news. Look, I'm going to make an early prediction. Well, not really an early prediction. Well, maybe a mid transfer window prediction. Look, for me, it's quite obvious. For me. For some of you guys, may not be quite obvious. For me, it is definitely quite obvious that two things are probably going to happen besides Jarell Hato and Xavi Simons, who I believe should be going through. Jarell Hato definitely over the next, once again, I'm not going to put a time frame, but very imminently, I think we're going to see a here we go for Jarell Hato. Xavi Simons, hopefully in the near future, not too distant future. But two other predictions that I want to make, which I feel, in my personal opinion, it's quite obvious at the moment, is one, Garnacho is going to be a Chelsea player. And two, Nicolas Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be out of Chelsea Football Club. This is it. I think Nicolas Jackson, and that will be the first topic we're going to talk about. The latest Nicolas Jackson is being linked to is Juventus. Nicolas Jackson, the fact that we're even contemplating going for Garnacho on top of we're going to get Xavi Simons and whoever else, right? I think Nicolas Jackson's time at Chelsea Football Club has come to an end. I don't mind him staying. I don't mind him fighting. I think there's value in him. But the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so, is that Nicolas Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, in my personal opinion, I think he's going to leave. He's linked with Man United. And we've also heard Man United don't have the money. He's linked with Aston Villa. We've also heard that Aston Villa don't want to get rid of Ollie Watkins. But he's linked with Newcastle. That's the latest one. Newcastle are hot on his case. Newcastle are hot on Sesko's case as well. But that's another club that's linked. And now we're seeing Juventus. And apparently Chelsea Football Club would rather sell him to a team that is not in the, that's not a Premier League rival. So look, so many rumors of Nicolas Jackson leaving Chelsea Football Club. And when you logically think about all of this, yes, I feel like it's not too far-fetched. I think it's very, very natural that Nicolas Jackson might move on. And I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if he's sticking around at Chelsea Football Club by the end of the transfer window is done. Now, let's have a look at, first up, Nicolas Jackson news. We've got Garnacho news, who would welcome an approach from Chelsea Football Club. Of course you would, Garnacho. You would welcome all of that. So we talk about that and a few other bits and bobs that's been floating about. First up, Juventus want to move out of Vlahovic and excuse me. And if they do, then there is every likelihood they will target Jackson. Sources believe Juve would be able to pay around 60 million for a striker if Vlahovic went, and Jackson's wages will not be prohibitive. Beautiful, coming from Matt Law. We've seen that a price tag that's been floating about. Excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. We've seen roughly around 65, 70. Well, there's news that's floating about that Chelsea are looking for around 80 million odd for Nicolas Jackson. I don't think we're going to get 80 million. I don't think we're going to get about 80 million for Nicolas Jackson. But I understand the logic behind it, because you got all of these strikers that are being valued at extreme level. Sesko's price is quite high as well. Ekiteke's price was what? Nearly about 70, 80 million pounds, right? So why not Nicolas Jackson? But I think overall, look, if a reasonable offer is made, now I'm not talking about 70, 80 million, but I've always said if about 65 million is achieved for Nicolas Jackson, I think he'll be sold. If Juventus come in with 60 million, Chelsea are quite okay to sell him for 60 to Juve, because Juventus are not a Premier League rival. So anyone in the Premier League, you're going to pay a little bit extra because of the Premier League tax. But anywhere outside of Premier League, we will be happy with about 60. And I think that might be wise. But I still do believe 65 million will get the job done for Nicolas Jackson. This is coming from Outlaw, as I said. And now Juventus are linked. A little bit more about Nicolas Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. A potential route for Jackson to join Aston Villa appears to be shut by Aston Villa's desire to keep Ollie Watkins. There you go. There was rumours about Ollie Watkins potentially going to Man United, but those rumours have sort of died because it looks like he might stick around at Aston Villa, which means then Nicolas Jackson doesn't get that opportunity to go to Aston Villa. Chelsea value Jackson north of 60 million, but there is a school of thought the club could allow him to leave for a smaller price to keep him away from a Premier League rival. There you go. So Juventus' name's being thrown around. I think we saw a few other clubs as well outside of the Premier League that's been floating about. So there's a lot of interest for Nicolas Jackson. I've always maintained there's definite good with Nicolas Jackson. There's definite good skill set about Nicolas Jackson. He's not a numpty. I know in recent times he hasn't worked out, and I know he's got flaws, but overall there is some level of good skill set that's within Nicolas Jackson, and I'm pretty sure other teams can utilize that. Whether he turns into a monster down the track, I don't think so. I think this is the right time to get rid of him and make that money. So Nicolas Jackson, I'm making a prediction. I think he's going to leave. Man United have ruled out a move for Nicolas Jackson due to cost. So there you go. Man United are not in the mix. Aston Villa are not in the mix, but I don't disregard Newcastle. Even if they do end up getting Sesko, don't for a second think that maybe they won't go for Nicolas Jackson. I think they could, because the money they're going to receive for Isak, they're going to want to invest all of that, and they need to bolster. Newcastle needs to bolster massively for next season. They've got Champions League football. They've got aspirations to do well in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure they're going to push for more attacking players, and Nicolas Jackson's name could be one of them. Now, next up, Garnacho continues to wait for Chelsea. This brother, he continues to wait. He wants Chelsea Football Club. I thought maybe he's going to be going to Aston Villa. That's not going to happen. He really, really desperately wants Chelsea. Garnacho would welcome an approach from Chelsea. This is, you've got Laurie Whitwell, who's a specialized Man United reporter. He's saying that Garnacho continues to wait for Chelsea. So there's definite truth around Garnacho to Chelsea. As I said, two prediction for me. Nicolas Jackson's going to leave. Don't know where, but he's going to leave. And Garnacho to Chelsea, it's quite inevitable. Ben Jacobs is also saying Garnacho would welcome an approach from Chelsea. Of course you'd welcome. A approach. Check this out. Max, if you guys haven't followed Max, who goes by PYS, this is his other account, Max. That's his real name. PYS is just, his name on his main account. Chelsea believe Garnacho is a great fit for Maresca's system. Chelsea believe. So this is coming from the scouts. This is coming from the directors. Obviously, they look at Maresca's system and they feel Garnacho is a good fit. I don't know whether Maresca himself certainly thinks Garnacho is a good fit, but whatever the case is, there are people in the Chelsea ranks that definitely feel Garnacho is worth it. Maresca's system on and off the ball. Discussions ongoing behind the scenes for weeks with his representatives. Garnacho wants to live in London. There you go. Even more reasons. He wants to live in London. He wants to play in the Premier League. So he wants to live in London, play in the Premier League. I mean, who else is going to go for? He wants to live in London. Who else in London is going to go for Garnacho and something that Garnacho is going to appreciate? It's not going to be Crystal Palace. It's not going to be Brentford. It's definitely not going to be Arsenal. It's not going to be Fulham. Chelsea Football Club, definitely. I think this is inevitable. As I said in my previous video, late yesterday UK time, look, the only way I'm fed up about talking all the negatives about Garnacho, which I still believe is going to become a problem. But it's time we all start thinking about, okay, well, how can he work? How can he work? The only way I think about he's going to work is the fact that he's young. And I'm hoping Enzo Fernandez puts a hand around him and guides him. And the rest is up to Almighty, of course. Maresca, can he get the best out of this kid? And can the kid develop and mature, into a better adult in terms of his attitude. Some people commented, is this attitude that you're talking about, it's just a one-off post the final against Spurs? No, just literally type Garnacho controversies. There's been plenty. Don't act like it's just a one incident that has happened with him. No, there's plenty of issues. This kid, and is just too temperamental. Some people are saying, it could be a situation like Lukaku, where this guy just out of nowhere does whole heap of madness, without telling Chelsea Football Club. So look, I think Garnacho to Chelsea is going to happen. I just hope that if and when he does become a Chelsea player, that he can abide by the good that is happening at Chelsea right now and doesn't destroy it all by himself. I'd be shattered if one player. Everything in this window has been so good, really. Most things, almost 90% of the things in this window has been good in terms of ins and outs, and we're making better decisions, in terms of directors and owners. This is one that I'm fully against, but if it happens, I can only pray and I can only hope. Chelsea Football Club are looking at it as a market opportunity. What does that mean? Is there going to be a loan, just like that Sancho situation, a loan where we pay some parts of his wages, and then maybe there might be an option to buy, and might be an option to even let go of him with a penalty. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is, but maybe Chelsea are looking at all of this and thinking, even if he doesn't work out, maybe we can sell him. He's young. And if he does work out, well, that's fantastic. Let's see what happens down the track. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea have set the asking price for Armando Braithwaite at 25 million. Renato Vega wanted by multiple UCL teams. Look, if we get 25 million for Renato Vega, that will be sensational. Chelsea are struggling to offload Ben Chilwell. No clubs have come in for him yet, coming from Athletic Madrid, coming from the Athletic. Look, Ben Chilwell's stocks are finito. This might be right at the end. Hopefully a club can come through. I just don't want to waste the loan spot. If he needs to go out on a loan again, I think they'll be detrimental to our cause. We want to send loans to players that we believe are going to develop. Ben Chilwell, this is what happens. You give him a contract extension, you bump up his wages, and all of a sudden he's out of favor. But yeah, Armando Braithwaite, ladies and gentlemen, 25 million. If we do end up getting him, there's still quality about him. Obviously, it's not worked out at Chelsea Football Club because injuries have killed it. But, recently when I did see him for Everton coming off the bench and coming back from the injury that he had recently, he looked really good. And 25 million, look, that might be a hefty price for Armando Braithwaite. Look, anywhere around 15 million for Armando Braithwaite might be good. But 25 million, if someone's willing to pay 25 million, that will be sensational. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about everything we spoke about, especially in regards to Nicolas Jackson and Garnacho. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, take care. See ya.